Hello. Sorry, can't hear me at all, can you? Why is there no audio on this? Well, what's the point of that?
British and Canadians.
All right.
Planes line up to take part in the greatest air invasion in history by the 1st Allied Airborne Army. Americans, British, and Canadians make up this armada for a crossing of the Rhine in the north near Basel. 1,500 planes and gliders haul both.
The goal today is we're going to watch some news back when it was, less like it is today. No internet. I got work to do, so I'm just going to have this on while I work. And we're all going to hang out and maybe talk about it, a little commentary here and there. And this is all out of copyright stuff, so, can stream it. Anyway, let's enjoy.
Both men and heavy equipment in this leapfrog over German positions east of the Rhine. This trip is really necessary for victory as the first planes get away. Tow ropes are carefully guided to avoid fatal snarls. It's a gigantic task to get the troop planes and gliders away from their bases in England safely. A job without precedent in military annals.
Military annals.
Takeoff instructions go to the transports when the gliders are once on their way. Winston Churchill and General Eisenhower observe progress from the ground near the Rhine. And then the Prime Minister takes a vantage point with Sir Alan Brooke as plane after plane nears the objective. 8th Air Force and British cameramen made these pictures as the men alert for the jump. And this is it. The C-46 plane enables the men to drop from both sides, 18 at a time, speeding up the operation. In a matter of seconds, the sky is filled with billowing parachutes. Next, the glider troops. The pilot releases the tow rope and the sailplane zooms to a landing. With the precision that comes from long planning, the invasion goes forward on schedule. The first wave of troops are out fast to take up their positions as they wait for their other buddies to land. One after another, the planes glide in, and some are hit by enemy shells. A troop carrier falls in flames, caught in anti-aircraft fire.
Serenix, what? I hope you're happy. Finally picked up Wayfinder because of recommendation. It's good, right? It's fun. I'm a fan as well.
With more split-second timing, artillery opens up. Within 8 hours, 4,000 prisoners were rounded up, and every objective was seized. A flying step to victory. Anti-mine tanks clear a path along the western front. The flails detonate the mines. The infantry exploits the General Patton's hard-driving third crashes into historic Koblenz from two sides. Right on the heels of the Yanks is Universal's Tom Priestley, who can generally be found where the going is hottest. Many of the scenes in this film are from his camera. The mop-up continues, street by street. An officer calls on the Nazis to surrender over the loudspeaker, and the Supermen can take a hint when the going is tough. Civilians are quick to follow suit. The war has finally come to their doorsteps. The defense of Koblenz was brief but bitter. However, Patton's Third Army has struck terror into the Wehrmacht. Could be a Hitler hangover, or maybe just a Patton pasting. Another rail center is paralyzed.
A Hitler hangover.
Looming over captured Koblenz from across the Rhine is the ancient fortress castle of Ehrenbreitstein. Koblenz is again in American hands, just 22 years after Allied occupation. Back again. This giant French seaplane, powered by 6 motors, was developed during the occupation of France under the very noses of the Gestapo. The methods by which the plane was built, in spite of the Gestapo, are as secret as the plane's specifications. This plane represents France's bid for a place in post-war air commerce. France, a pioneer in aviation, stages a comeback in the world of flight. Bastogne in Belgium will long be remembered as the site of the heroic stand of the isolated 101st Airborne Division. Supreme Commander Eisenhower, in the midst of historic battlefields, honors the Screaming Eagles in a ceremony without parallel in war history.
It is a great personal honor for me to be here today, to take part in a ceremony that is unique in American history. Never before has a full division been cited by the War Department in the name of the President for gallantry in action.
Watching the presentation is screen actress Marlene Dietrich. The 101st withstood von Rundstedt's final effort to break the Allied offensive when he endeavored to spearhead an attack through Belgium during the Battle of the Bulge. General Eisenhower himself,
The Battle of the
heroic division,
Bulge.
whose commander, General McAuliffe,
Sorry,
turned down the German...
I am reading chat, but I'm also working. What are you guys asking? Resteam YouTube is broken again. Oh, I don't know why. Here, I'll try to turn it on and off again. How about that? Okay, off, on. Now try it. Somebody from one say something to the other, and then we'll see if it worked. I hope it did.
On demand for surrender with the famous word, nuts. Against heavy odds, the Yanks stood firm.
Ah, the Yanks.
From such bravery, victory is forged.
Firm yank. Nothing like a firm yank, man. All right, inventory, purchase orders, transfers, gift cards. I'm doing a bunch of store stuff. That's what we're here for today.
The Admiral of the Fleet's 5 stars, flying above the Pacific Naval Headquarters at Guam, are ready to follow Admiral Nimitz, left, about to set out for the conquest of Okinawa. Coming aboard the flagship of Task Force 58 is Admiral Mitcher, scourge of the enemy in waters about Japan.
Yeah, scourge of the enemy.
1,400 ships get underway, and the invasion forces aboard cast worry aside for the moment and beat a tune out on the old squeeze box, while Ernie Pyle left watching
Beat a tune out on the squeeze box
for the biggest invasion fleet ever assembled in the Pacific. And if you're going to visit a foreign country, you've got to have native dough.
Native dough!
Strategic airfields are the objectives as the great fleet's guns open up. Terrific rocket barrages level shore defenses. Army, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marine cameramen combined to photograph these stirring scenes of the landing nearest to Japan's main islands. Kyushu is only 360-odd miles away. Little resistance was encountered by the first troops ashore, but sporadic sniper fire was met. Pillboxes cleaned out with grenades. While little Jap resistance was met at first,
Jap!
enemy defense
Oh,
grew stronger
shit.
near
It's the
Naha,
40s,
capital.
isn't it?
Forts similar to this met our troops. Thousands of civilians willingly gave up to the Yanks. Miserable and undernourished, they had first
Native
wondered at
dough.
the treatment
Yeah, I
they
like
would
that.
receive
Hi,
from
Incredible
the Yanks.
Sausage.
But
Hello,
fear
Trickster.
soon
Did the still not coming through? Yeah, I don't know what happened. I can
With the
pull you
latest
both up,
defeat of
though.
The Jap fleet and Air Force, Okinawa's fate is sealed.
That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do.
The RAF dropped 30,000 pounds of bombs on Mandalay during the final assault, which drove the Japs from that storied city.
Pop out chat.
The city of Pagodas was subjected to a 12-day siege, which
About
blasted the
chat.
Japs from their defenses. The Japs used temples as strong points. In the taking of Mandalay, British and Indian troops
Mandalay
cut the River
Bay.
Peninsula in two, isolating Japs to the south.
Mandalay. All right. So I see you both, okay?
Another captured Jap
But you can't
flag,
see each other.
another
My
symbol of the
apologies.
setting
I don't know what
sun.
happened. They've
Took
been it's been a
concentrated shelling to
fruity
crash the walled city on
feature
Dufferin
lately. It's
Hill.
not working great.
The Japs held out here for days before the first stunned and blindfolded prisoners were removed.
Oh no, that's working now, isn't it?
So sorry, please. You bet they are. The Union Jack rises over Mandalay after almost 3
Oh,
years
it's
of
working.
Jap occupation.
Is it
Another
working?
step toward the
I don't
crushing
know.
of Japan.
I don't know. At least he called it
The
Japan.
American Third Army pushes
Jeez
farther into the
Louises.
crumbling German citadel, racing other Allied armies to Berlin. Tanks blaze the way. German prisoners, hunched over to avoid fire from their own troops, are rushed to safer areas in the rear. Bag after bag of prisoners have been taken, 1,500 in this group alone. Prisoner of war camps on German soil, but for Germans only. There is no pause for the Third Army as it overruns the Reich. Burning and wrecked Nazi equipment, as well as their dead, litter the road as the armored divisions speed on to engulf a demoralized enemy.
Demoralized.
For the first time, Signal Corps cameras picture actual rocket attacks on the European front. Multi-bank firing units have given valuable support to our artillery. Highly mobile, they're quickly set up and sighted. The weapons are fired from a remote control box, safe from the blasts.
This stuff is hardcore, dude.
Many of the rocket banks are mounted on trucks and can be deployed so fast the enemy doesn't know what hit it.
As the San Francisco Security Conference nears, Secretary Stettinius confers with Big Four delegates, including Soviet Ambassador Gromyko, Lord Halifax of Great Britain, and Dr. Wei, Chinese ambassador. The group engaged in informal preliminary discussions. Assistant Secretary Archibald MacLeish tells why America not only wants peace, but must have peace.
Peace has always been the policy of the American people. Peace is now the necessity of the American people. If there is another war, if there is another aggressor, the United States will be the first target of that aggressor's action. We need peace to continue to be ourselves. We need peace to construct the world we Americans have always wanted to construct.
When the wounded vets down in Georgia receive golf instruction from Lord Byron Nelson, everything is copacetic until they try it themselves. Joe Kirkwood, famous trick shot specialist, steps into the spotlight. And how?
And how?
For something extra fancy, Joe tees up the ball this way, grabs his war club, but it's a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, I love this
Things
stuff,
are
by
different
the
in
way.
the second round as Joe whacks it, and he'll take no lip from Mr. In-Between.
No lip from you, buddy.
But for the grand slam, Joe winds up the shenanigans. It may not be golf, but it's very far from it.
What? That didn't make sense. It may not be golf, but it's very far from it. Did you guys hear that? Am I smoking the crack? Okay, this one has no audio. I don't know why. Okay, we're good.
Foreign Commissar Molotov of Russia arrives at Blair House in Washington, where he was the government's guest prior to his departure for the World Security Conference at San Francisco. He confers with Anthony Eden and Secretary Stettinius during his stay at the Capitol. The Soviet foreign minister came to the United States at the direct invitation of President Truman to assist other members of the Security Conference in reaching a closer understanding. This 110-inch airplane tire is about to get the most severe test it's possible to give. At Wright Field Laboratories, a 370,000-pound steel wheel is revolved at 180 miles per hour, creating a gigantic braking power which is carefully measured. At the proper moment, the tire is pushed against the wheel, absorbing a shock many times greater than that of a landing plane. This rubber was torn loose in the first grinding impact before the flywheel was slowed down. Weighing 3/4 of a ton, some idea of the size of this giant may be gained by comparison with the standard tire of a B-17 and the tire of a Cub plane. Another Army experiment in safety. A crowd of 30,000 assembles to see the last B-17 roll from the assembly line of the Boeing Seattle plant. Henceforth, this factory will be devoted exclusively to the production of B-29 Superforts. Stickers commemorate the thousands of missions on which the flying forts have performed so gallantly throughout the world. Salute to a great airplane. Entering the final phase of victory over Hitler's Nazis, Yank armies swarm across western Germany, bringing devastation to cities of the Reich. From all sides, Allied might crushes in on the remains of the Wehrmacht, bringing home the horrors of war to the German people as they have never experienced it before. The white flag of surrender flies all along the battle-torn route as our fast-moving armies sweep to a junction with the Russians. German medical units handle casualties as captured Volkssturm troops swell the total of 1 million prisoners taken during the last...
What's going on?
As the Yanks arrive, civilians turn out to wonder at the fate that awaits a conquered nation. A burgomaster addresses a civilian gathering, but German morale breaks down and unruly crowds loot wrecked stores. Signal Corps cameramen film the looting of freight and passenger cars loaded with civilian and military goods. Other pictures showing the drive on Berlin were taken by newsreel cameramen. American MPs handled the traffic problem. Scrap metal from wrecked airplanes and German telephone equipment were being hauled in this wrecked train of 75 cars. Graveyards such as this one, where the Gestapo buried 30,000 Russians in 3.5 years, are only one result of mass starvation and brutality encountered by the Yanks. Prison camps and forced labor camps took a heavy toll of millions of miserable people enslaved by the Nazis. These girls suffered incredible hardships when forced to work in German munitions factories. Slave workers who came from many parts of Europe. Each girl wore a number tattooed on her arm. And here is stark evidence of German torture. Yellow identifying crosses were daubed in their clothing. Thousands of these unhappy humans are being freed daily by the Allied armies. Years of privation left their mark on these men, gathering for cigarettes and to receive instructions from British and American military authorities. The Yanks get a rousing welcome. Among the crowds in the square, a Russian girl spots a Gestapo agent in civilian clothes posing as a Dutchman. He's quickly hustled off to jail. In France, 3 million families wait eagerly for their loved ones to return.
Look
Some
at them.
of them have been
Look at
gone
these.
for 5 years.
These photos
and
were
mixed
pretty
feelings
set
of
up,
joy
dude.
and sadness greet the trains returning with the war prisoners.
Yeah.
Such pitiful family reunions are reminders of the devastation and horror visited on the world by the Axis. Calling to our advancing armies is the storied city of Heidelberg, famed for its great university. Once a great center of German culture, the university attracted the patronage of wealthy Americans who contributed this building, captioned to the German spirit by the Nazis. American reporters uncovered the plaque, which the Nazis had removed, listing the donors, names familiar to all Americans. It was progressive Americans who helped maintain Heidelberg, just to have Nazi supermen grind culture under their heels. The Watch on the Rhine has taken on added significance in this war. This time, as our soldiers see the Star-Spangled Banner unfurled, they know that the Allies will police Germany until militarism is stamped out.
We'll do that by increasing our militarism.
General Omar Bradley gives personal thanks to his men at this point near Koblenz. It was after a slight pause here that his armies loosed the full fury of the attack on the Reich. Just what they have done, including General Patton's men, is history. The Stars and Stripes fly in victory over conquered German soil.
End of recording. Next up. Oh. All right. This one might be a little dark. I mean, it's black and white, but, you know, it's good to see. I like history. This is a bit of history. I guess, trigger warning, anyone who doesn't want to see any World War II footage, but there's probably going to be something in here.
Thousands of German captured Yanks were snatched from slow, lingering death as Nazi prisoners when our armies fanned out over the Reich. Starved, many of them captives only since December, yet 40 to 90 pounds thinner, they receive a light, nourishing broth first, and ugly, unattended wounds are dressed as the first step in nursing them back to health. Medical officers marvel that some of the freed men were still alive. Heroes such as Private Richard Mulder of Lincoln, Nebraska. Yes, this is what the Nazis did to our men whom they captured. There is life here, though most of the story is death. Death. At Hadamar, an insane asylum served the mad Hun well. Behind its high walls, their victims, Poles, Greeks, Russians, any non-Germans, were systematically slaughtered. All we could do was to dig up and give the dead a decent burial, including many women who gave up their lives to Nazism. These newsreel and Signal Corps pictures were officially recorded for posterity.
Gnarly, dude.
One of the first steps by officers is to question the asylum heads. Autopsies showed overdoses of morphine and quick-acting poisons in many cases. The record clerk is quick to point an accusing finger at the institution head. Mass murder, of course. But these men put their victims to death with little torture, and that can't be said for other German hellholes. The murder mill at Ohrdruf brings out the full horror and bestiality of the Nazi scum. And General Eisenhower, a man hardened by the blood and shock of war, seems appalled at these unbelievable sights. Accompanied by General Bradley on his revolting mission, and also by General Patton, hard-boiled yet visibly moved, the Supreme Commander sees demonstrations of the torture racks. Most camp officers fled before the advancing Allies, but some fell into our hands, and with townsfolk are forced to witness the devil's work of the men they should be ashamed to call countrymen. How many were put to the torch, no one will know. How many while alive? Lime pits, flesh-eating, bone-consuming lime, accounted for others. Germans are conducted to a murder shed where thousands, too ill to be herded to the rear by Nazis, were slain in cold blood. The thought of the horror awaiting them is almost too much for the Germans themselves, but brutality is fought with stern measures. It was in this grim hell that the Nazis piled up bodies of their victims like common cordwood, sprinkling lime between the layers to assist decomposition.
Damn, dude. That's gnarly. I think I'm skipping this one.
They come out shaken to the core. They have seen
That stuff is hardcore. All right, what do you got here? Medical service and the invasion of Normandy. Okay, so this will be a little less, you know. Gotta hate them Nazis. Them Nazis.
This is England. England before June 6, 1944. From these shores, the United Nations was soon to launch the greatest military expedition of its kind in history. The cross-channel invasion of Europe against the Nazi power. Vast preparations were being made. Huge quantities of materiel and supplies collected. Guns, half-tracks, bombs, ambulances. Yes, ambulances. For in the midst of all this preparation and this training for destruction, there went on an opposite kind of preparation. Preparation for the business of saving life, of preserving limb and tissue, of easing pain. Through the endless English months of war games and maneuvers, the medical corpsmen of the ground forces worked with their units. They grew tough and inured to battle conditions. They learned the prime importance of speed. As the day drew nearer and the grand strategy was mapped, the Medical Corps drafted its plans to fit. The disposition of hospital facilities in England would be as follows. In the north, scattered over a wide area, the general hospitals, large institutions completely equipped for every type of medical service. A few miles inland from the south coast and spotted near railroads would be a series of transit hospitals through which would pass all the casualties arriving in England. Here they would be classified and routed to the various general hospitals in the north, and along the coast, close to the beaches and ports in each receiving area, there were to be holding hospitals, fully equipped for emergency surgery. Here, serious cases could receive attention immediately on their arrival in England. These were the plans, and this was the reality. The General Hospital, the Transit Hospital, the Holding Hospital, better equipped than many a permanent institution back home. The tents stood empty, ready, waiting for the day. June 6th, D-Day. The great plan is put to the test. The enemy lies in wait, as determined to stop us as we are to land. First American soldiers hit the beach. The medics have moved in with them and their work begins. Aid stations are established on the spot, and an astounding record starts piling up. The checkup later reveals that 80 to 90% of the wounded received medical care within 10 minutes of being hit. Immediately, the business of evacuation begins. Worst wounds get first priority. Right back they go to the boats that landed them but a short time before. This is part of the plan. Where the LSTs are unable to come in close enough, the smaller craft are used to get the wounded to them. And so the ships receive their damaged human cargoes for the trip back. All along the beaches, they wait. As the fighting develops, every means is used to hasten the removal of the wounded from the scene of battle. The jeep of all trades is pressed into service and proves itself again. And a duck sets out with its load of wounded. Through it all, the slogan of speed remains the keynote. The LSTs used in the Normandy invasion were designed to become emergency hospital ships as soon as their fighting cargoes had been deposited ashore. In the hold, wall brackets were installed for the support of tiers of litters. Each LST could accommodate 200 or more patients, and in the first days of the invasion, 90% of the wounded were evacuated on these ships.
Damn, dude. That would suck.
A drink of water. Trophies,
That would suck.
and rest.
It would suck.
A dead rest of exhaustion. Elsewhere on the ship, a life is being saved. Some wounds can't wait. So planning included an operating room on each LST and an experienced Army surgeon to augment the regular naval medical staff. And soon it will be England again, and rest, and care, and safety. The routing of the ships had been carefully planned to avoid congestion at any one landing point on the English coast. As each ship disembarked its wounded, those cases needing immediate surgery or other treatment were moved to the nearest holding hospital. Then, as soon as they were transportable again, they were moved inland to the transit hospital serving the area. All other cases, and these were in the great majority, were moved directly from the landing point to the transit hospital, and from there were routed by special train to the north. Every preparation for these moves had been made. Ambulance companies strung out all along the coast were under the control of evacuation officers at each receiving area. 5,000 of these vehicles stood by ready for immediate service. The ships start coming in. Some to ports, some to piers and outlying areas. Others pull up directly onto the beaches. No time is lost in moving out the wounded. Specially trained sanitary companies take over the litter jobs and the business of unloading begins. Evacuation officers supervise. The disposition of each litter case has been decided. And so man helps man, and American teamwork proves itself once more, and the job is shortly done. The emergency cases move out first. Often it's only a matter of minutes before a dangerous wound has been x-rayed, a decision made, and a patient readied for surgery. As soon after the operation as it's safe for him to travel, he's moved out and sent off to the transit hospital. In Normandy, the fighting has moved inland.
Yeah, it has.
The last
Look
war
at
when
it.
a
You can see
soldier
it
was
moving
wounded,
inland.
He just had to watch and wait until an aid man found him. Now the order is reversed. The aid man does the watching and waiting, and is at the side of the casualty as soon as he becomes one. In addition, the American corpsman today, unlike his counterpart in previous wars, is qualified to administer morphine and plasma and to render numerous other services to the wounded. All this is making a vast difference in the saving of life.
Vast difference.
Some of the wounded filter back to the aid station on foot, but evacuation by walking and hand litter bearing soon gives way to the faster method of evacuation by jeep. The battalion aid station operates just behind the lines. Here the trained corpsman again demonstrates his value, taking over many jobs that the physician would otherwise have to perform. This frees the doctor's time for more detailed attention to the serious cases. Next, the wounded are brought to a collecting station a mile or so farther back. There are facilities here for further emergency treatment if needed. But the primary job is the transporting of the wounded with all possible speed to the clearing station. This is located far enough to the rear to avoid exposure to direct enemy action. Here, medical officers, expert in judging the condition of casualties, sort the patients and determine their disposition. Urgent cases needing certain specialized types of surgery are turned over to the field hospital, which is set up close by. The great majority of operations here are for perforating abdominal wounds and sucking wounds of the chest, like this one. Whole blood flown in from England consolidates the gains that have been made by life-saving plasma at the front. On D-Day +4, the first evacuation hospital goes up in France. This is the largest and most elaborate type of tent installation used in the combat zone. Nevertheless, it's ready to receive patients within 30 minutes, and operating starts in 2 hours. 3 of them going on at once. Count them. Skilled Army nurses look after the patients, and there are such comforts as cots and mattresses and hot food. Many of the less seriously wounded will make complete recoveries here and report to replacement depots in a matter of days.
Those plates look good.
But cases requiring prolonged periods of convalescence are sent back to England. Plane evacuation, expected to begin about D-Day +7, has actually begun on D-Day +3. Within a fortnight, We're flying out more than 1,000 wounded a day, and sea evacuation has been almost entirely supplanted. The air trip from France to England takes about an hour. Speed has won another triumph, and it becomes a common occurrence for a soldier wounded in France in the morning to be resting in a general hospital in England by evening. From the landing field, the patients are shuttled to the transit hospital. And before long, they're boarding the hospital trains that pull out daily from nearby railway spurs for the trip north.
I have a question. Does anyone in the chat know how to create a subdomain on hover.com? Cannot find a way to do it, and it is pissing me off. Does anyone know? I thought it used to be like in here and it was easy, and I can't find it now. Like, shouldn't I be able to go? Shit, I don't know.
And the last leg of the journey begins. The general hospitals are telling some remarkable stories.
Where are you going, easy reader?
Like 16,000 casualties handled by one group and only 15 deaths. What is making such records possible, of course, is the fine condition in which patients are arriving, due to the splendid work of units all along the line. In the first 2 months of the invasion, some 76,000 wounded were handled by the medical department. In World War I, 8% of these men would not have survived. Today, less than 3% are being lost. And many who would have been invalided for life will be totally healed.
I have all my domains on Hover, and they're fine. I just can't find a way to create subdomains. Maybe I was never meant to in here.
Knew the pain, the suffering,
Pain in the
now know the
ass.
care,
This thing I have to do here.
and the hope that the best in modern medicine can bring.
All right, then. I think that's the end of that playlist. It is. All right, well, let's see what else we can serve up. Let's find something a little less depressing, maybe. Hold on one second here. Hold on. Let's see what I can find in this thing full of stuff. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, these will be good. Lady Lifeguards.
On New York's Manhattan Manhattan Beach, which oddly enough is in Brooklyn, may be found many outdoor activities each summer besides bathing. But its most interesting experiment to date, and one it may proudly boast about, is an auxiliary life-saving corps made up entirely of young women, whose duty it is to assist the regular guard patrol in their watchful work of protecting the lives of the public. To the Office of Recreation Manager, Mr. Claire B., come hundreds of young applicants, all anxious to join the seaside service. After a careful check as to general health and athletic ability, those selected for a tryout are taken to the medical station and given a thorough physical examination by the beach doctor. For the preliminary tests as well as the training later will be extremely strenuous. And now those who have passed the medical examination are lined up on the beach and inspected soldier-like by Chief Lifeguard Lou Phipps and Captain Madeline Carson, head of the girls' unit.
Check out Lou Phipps out there doing Lou Phipps business.
In the first preliminary test, each applicant must swim from the shore to the lifeguard boat, a distance of about 100
Lord Quick
yards
Hacks,
against wave and tide.
you're my best friend.
She is timed and marked for speed and style by examiners from the Guard Patrol and Life-Saving Corps.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, this is happening.
To show she is not exhausted and to prove her endurance, without stopping for any rest, she must make a surface dive to the bottom, a depth here of about 20 feet. For evidence, she brings up a handful of sand. Among other tests, rowing, of course, is important.
So
Though the lifeguard boat is heavy, it is
DNS.
necessary to demonstrate they can master it upon all occasions.
Oh, yeah. Add a record, choose the record
Exhaustive
type,
tests
A.
have eliminated many, but those that remain are
Set the
now
host
ready
name
to
to the
take the
subdomain.
Instructions begin with the proper method of breaking various holds, such as the front strangle, for a drowning person will grab anywhere and hold on for dear life. Another dangerous hold is the double wrist lock, which must be broken in a firm manner, for otherwise the rescuer would go down with the victim. Two people locked in each other's arms also present a serious problem, unless efficiently handled.
I don't know what the IP address should be.
After a hold is broken, the right method of water carry requires one arm to be kept free for swimming.
Let's see. Probably something on the Shopify side.
And now the girls are shown the right way to carry and to pass a drowning victim from one guard to another, known as the Pony Express. The victim is held firmly and securely to prevent slipping or falling, yet at the same time as gently and comfortably as possible under the circumstances.
Existing domain.
Artificial respiration is an important factor in life-saving. Here, the use of an inhalator in connection with the prone pressure method is demonstrated. Resuscitation by relay is necessary, for it sometimes takes many hours without pause to start the victim breathing again.
I think that guy just wants to touch that lady. I could be wrong.
The girls now carefully watch how a victim is placed upon a stretcher, always held so that the entire body remains in a horizontal position.
Already domain to Shopify for new customer
And
account
so
pages.
the training goes on day after day without let-up, watching, learning, practicing on one another, gradually becoming confident of their own ability. Lined up in company formation, the girls are ready for their daily drill. 4 are selected to man the lifeboat, a job they seem to relish, judging by the speed they make for the water. And necessary it is, too, for the element of time is always important to a lifeguard. More practice, this time in deep water. She throws out the anchor to hold the boat in position, dives overboard, and rapidly swims toward a make-believe victim, holding her head high so as not to lose sight of the subject. By an underwater approach, she turns the victim round by the knees, holds her by chin and chest with one arm, swims back to the boat with the other. Every morning, the troop assemble and take their swimming exercise, a distance of half a mile at a speed set by the leader. Yet the mermaids seem remarkably fresh at the finish. No one has fallen by the seaside, Captain Carson calls the roll of her company.
Where's Phipps?
A company any commander would be happy to inspect. At last the day arrives when the girls are permitted to take over a part of the beach under the supervision of the regular guard patrol. Eagerly, they rush forward to reinforce the lifeguards on duty. The many hours spent in training and drill now take on definite meaning. Some are ordered to the guard lookout to sight any trouble in the surf and sea. Others man the boats or patrol the beach, always ready to lend a hand in any emergency that may arise, or to keep a watchful eye on the younger children who are brought to this seaside resort in great numbers.
Go to settings.
The girl guards continue their watch. Suddenly out there, someone is in difficulty.
Oh no, get in there.
Without a moment's hesitation, she's off the sand. Off to her first call. Off to a child floundering far out. The lifeguard boat has heard the whistle, and the girls put everything they've got in the oars. Toward the panic-stricken child there flashes through the water a white figure, swift in action, calm in mind, a godsend to a tired little body. Swiftly, too, the lifeboat cuts through the water, and as it appears upon the scene, the child is being securely held and safely brought forward on the strong, capable arm of one who is doing her part to perfection. In the best tradition of the lifeguard, to save without punishing, the young victim is gently and carefully placed in the boat and quickly rowed ashore. Here, other members of the Corps run out to the water and help bring in the heavy boat from out of the strong surf, but all without confusion, for each girl has been trained to do her task, and each does it calmly and well. Back from her first victory, our girl guard returns with a young life in her arms. Safely, she places the child on the shore. Serenely, she returns to the stand, ready again for any duty Father Neptune may call upon his daughters to perform.
Wow. That was very crunchy, wasn't it?
Years ago, Italy stood poised to invade Ethiopia under the leadership of a would-be Caesar, Benito Mussolini. It takes on fresh historical significance today. Il Duce's intentions were clear, and in Geneva, the League of Nations met to consider the plight of the small African kingdom, then one of only 2 independent nations on the Dark Continent. To the spokesman of the member nations, the threat was grave, not only to Ethiopian freedom, but to the very peace of the world. The statesmen who dominated the international scene in the 30s were confronted with a challenge to conscience. The League voted economic sanctions against Italy in response to Ethiopia's pleas, but the League was relatively ineffectual, and its sanctions were scorned by Mussolini. Many of the figures in the news then, such as Pierre Laval of France, later a collaborator, and Boncourt of France, figure prominently in a generation's history of tragic futility against the mounting threat of totalitarian aggression. Faced with the threat of League boycott, Mussolini nonetheless massed his legions and without even a declaration of war, rolled across the Ethiopian frontier into the mountain fastnesses of Haile Selassie's kingdom. The most highly mobilized war machine of the day was on the move.
I don't know why they find this stuff so
Against
fascinating.
the attack, only high-spirited but poorly armed and disorganized tribal forces could be mustered by Haile Selassie. A gallant but foredoomed struggle was in the offing. Today, a quarter of a century later, the hopes of the world for peace lie in the successor to the League, the United Nations, faced with the problems of new nations like the Congo that offer tempting prey for communist aggression, more skillful and subtle by far than Mussolini. One of his
Mussolini.
tragedies of the 30s is
Mussolini.
whether to be repeated on even greater scale or to be avoided is a question still in the balance.
Don't know why that was in there. Not sure what this one's about. I guess it's just showing what stuff looked like back then. I can only assume. Okay, I think I figured it out. Now, please work, you dirty bastard. working. There's a shitty job. That would suck. Oh shit. Oh, okay. We're okay. Still means using third-party name servers. DNS records added here won't have an effect. I'm so confused. Dirty, dirty bastard. It's time to go to Coney Island.
Coney Island, the world's greatest fun frolic, with its beach miles long, all peppered with people. The place where merriment is king.
He's using third party.
Let's mingle with 1 million folks. Folks who are just like all of us. 100,000 youngsters and oldsters. All swimming, playing, or resting. All getting their share of the sun and the fun. All refugees from the city heat. Here where the beach meets the cool Atlantic. Here in this great whirlpool of joy. Here for a lark at Coney Island. World's biggest barrel of fun. Some take it easy on the $4 million boardwalk, while others snap pictures for proof back home that they really were part of this fun-seeking throng. With amusements here, there, and everywhere, it's hard to decide where to start. Rivers of humanity in carnival mood pour through Coney's many streets.
Hurry, hurry, step this way, the strangest sights on the island. Freaks from the four corners of the world. What 2 nickels, 1 dime at 10th part
Smallest
of a dollar.
grown-ups.
We've got the show if you've got the dime. It's just starting. So hurry, hurry, look 'em over the lady without a head. There are thin ones, there are fat ones, they're all inside.
There's a lady without a head. Hold on.
And Pip the pin-headed people. A sample of the marvelous freaks you'll see for the price of a small thin dime. You get the whole show now if you hurry, hurry, hurry.
Oh, we sucked back then. Everyone complains about today, but we ain't doing that shit anymore.
Step right this way, friends. You can't go home without a permanent souvenir. Now take your places.
That's right. Now, very still. A big broad smile. Watch the birdie, and presto, we have Down on the Farm right at Coney Island. Speed demons of tomorrow getting someplace today. Surprises galore, cries and screams of delight in these cars that tilt and slide. From one attraction to another, the eager million moves on. Even the kiddies fly high at Coney.
The kiddies. Even the kiddies.
Everybody ride on any and every kind of gadget that means motion, speed, thrills, and laughs. Now, this looks easy, just a matter of hanging on, but hanging on to what? Faster it goes, and here they spill in every direction. It's fun for riders and spectators, too. If it turns and twists or rocks and shakes, it's here at Coney Island. And all that swings in this huge fun center is not on a dance floor. Atlantic Ocean breezes and laughter make appetites keen at Coney. Dinner time is any time, all the time. 1 million hungry people to feed. And the cost begins at a dime. And the youngsters have their own ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Corn on the cob, a Coney specialty. Steaming ears smothered with butter and salt, with thousands of bushels enjoyed every day. But Coney Island's greatest eating invention is the Frankfurter, for it was here, when the place was a sandbar known as Koenig Hook, that the hot dog was born. Zowie, it's Coney Island caviar. After dinner, it's time to check your weight.
I guess say Zowie. Did I hear him say freaking Zowie, dude? Yeah, this is insane. These are the ones I was looking for. That World War II stuff was getting a little dark, so I'm glad we found some happy time stuff.
3 pounds, or it costs you nothing. Coney's most famed free attraction is its Big Bathing Girl Review, where mermaids from near and far vie for honors. Those who brave the surf and those who never go near the water parade before big crowds and critical judges. Blondes, brunettes, and redheads, all so shapely and lovely that the judge's job is exacting. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to present Miss Coney Island. Here they come, head over heels, upside down. What's the difference? Here at Coney Steeplechase Park, the fun never ends. So let's cool off, high up in the ocean breeze. Shows of every kind invite the crowd. Shows that make us grip our seats with excitement. Shows like this where ferocious tigers from distant lands come to quicken our blood. Fang and claw matched with nerves of steel. Playful fellows, aren't they? One of the cats shows us how they do the tiger rag in Jungle Land. You want to cut in? You can if you want. Now, hold your breath. Ah, the man who didn't lose his head. From the jaws of a tiger to the hoopla, and hoopla it surely is. Down she goes, and around, up and down, going nowhere in a hurry. Action. No matter how you land, so long as it's action. Now for the good old merry-go-round, carousel, flying horses. Whatever we call them, they afford a merry whirl for youngsters from 6 to 60. Then action again on whirling discs. Or shooting the chutes at a mile a minute. Or standing on your head and seeing the world upside down in this loop-a-plane. Riding to the top of the park to see the whole show, only to face a vertical drop of 90 feet. Some scream, some grow pale, but everybody shouts. It never seems to end. Drop after drop, rise and twist and turn. But at last it's happy landing, and my oh my, where have we been? Dusk descends. Night crowds pour in to swell the mighty merrymaking throng. Millions of lights frame the resort in a pattern of moving joy. Fantastic shapes pierce the crisp coastal air. The sky becomes a living lacework of brilliance and color. And long into the night, the crowds make merry with laughter, song, and fun. Coney Island, a mecca by day, a glittering spectacle by night, the dynamic fun land of a nation.
Oh, geez, that buzz was no fun. What is this? I don't know what this is. Skipping that.
In this epic match.
Hollywood Newsreel. Oh, yeah, dude. This will be good. This will be good.
The intimate glimpses of your favorite stars behind the scenes of Movie Land.
All right.
It was a great day in Hollywood when the Columbia University football team visited the Warner Brothers studio. They've just won a glorious victory over the Stanford University boys in the annual Rose Bowl tournament, and they're on the Warner lot to celebrate. And who do you think is on hand to welcome them? None other than Busby Berkeley's dancing cuties who took time out from their work on the Wonderbar set to greet the gang. To the victors go the hugs and the kisses, and all those boys taking it big. It's a good thing the score was only 7-0. Imagine what these girls would have done for a score like 21-0. There's Captain Cliff Montgomery getting his share of the spoils. And Bashful Brabus, the fellow who scored the only touchdown of the game. Boy, it's a great day for these fighting lions from New York. The gang loses no time in making Ginger its mascot. With the assistance of Joe, Ginger, Dick Powell, and Gene Muir, Captain Montgomery and Senator Kurt Newell show them how they did it. Ricardo Cortez gets a demonstration of how Montgomery got the black eye. What a shiner! Warner Brothers were all set to give Monty a screen test, but not with a black eye. Did you ever see a movie star with a real shiner? No, sir, and you never will. Like real heroes, the boys take a chance and visit Busby Berkeley on the Wonderbar set. They just want to see Berkeley. They weren't even thinking about the girls. Much. Montgomery passes. Out. Almost out. McDowell is headed for the safety zone, and Brominski fumbles for a handkerchief. They just can't take it. They just can't take it. Well, they're going to try and get the screen test of Montgomery after all. Here he is being made up by two very charming studio girls. They've covered his black eye with grease paint and his nose with powder. Now, isn't he a dandy? My, oh, my, what will the boys back home think of this? But don't you worry, Cliff. There's a lot of fellows watching this picture that would give anything to be in your shoes right now. Here is Coach Lou Little with 11 of the lads who turned the trick on Stanford. Although the game was played in a sea of mud and a torrent of rain, Columbia is still the gem of the ocean.
Columbia.
Hail,
He said Columbia. I heard
gold,
that.
Damn thy hills. And since President Roosevelt has raised the price of it to almost double what it was a year ago, old-timers are trekking to the hills of California again. This mine is only a short distance from Hollywood, and Dick Powell, Margaret Lindsay, and Guy Kibbe have dropped in to see if it is really true that all is gold that glitters in the pay dirt. The best way to get gold out of the earth is to get yourself a pick and shovel, take off your coat, and start digging. What poise, what rhythm, what nonsense. After you've gone to all the trouble to get a wheelbarrow full of dirt, you've got to wheel it to the nearest river to find out if you've been digging in the right place. Some fun. It doesn't cost much to start a gold mine. All you need is a few sticks of wood, a couple of nails, your grandmother's wash tub, and a big garbage pail, and you're in business.
Wash tub,
This mine goes 70 feet straight down into the earth. A few miles from here, a fellow started digging a hole like this in January, and after months of hard labor, he found he had dug his way right into Mae West Boudoir. You see, success comes easy to some folks. With a good-looking girl like Margaret Lindsay on the job, it's surprising these boys can keep their minds on their work. But Guy Kibbe's wife has ordered a new ermine wrap, and he has to keep digging, or else. That contraption Dick Powell is rocking is called a cradle. As he throws the water over the dirt, the stones and sand are washed away, and the gold falls through the wire screen onto a little ledge. The next step is panning, and here's where Grandmother's washtub comes in handy. After a hard day's work, you might get enough gold to fill the cavity the dentist warned you about, if you're lucky. Well, anyhow, these tenderfeet have at least worked up an appetite, and they're going to enjoy a big lunch of roasted frankfurters, canned beans, coffee, apple pie, and nuts. Here's Joan Blundell, back before the camera.
And they're all going to have the shits
from her
later.
recent illness that kept her away from the studio for over a month. She's one of Hollywood's best-loved stars, and everyone is happy to see her up and around again. What about it, Joan?
I want to take this opportunity of thanking all my friends for the lovely wires and messages I received during my illness. And believe me, it's a great feeling to be back at work again.
Hugh Herbert has played
I believe you.
many famous stage and screen stars, but for the first time in his career, he plays opposite a sheep in Merry Wives of Reno. It took months to train this sheep to follow Huey, and it's going to take months to untrain it. Nearly everyone in the studio calls it Eloise, but Hugh says its real name is Elmer. The little lamb that Mary had nothing on the one that Huey has. He can't even go to lunch without being followed by Eloise, or Elmer. If he isn't nice and kind to the animal, it won't do what he wants it to do in the picture. Now, is that nice, asks Huey, spoiling a fellow's lunch? And Eloise, having gone Hollywood in a big way, nods yes. Bah! Hal Leroy, young Broadway musical comedy star, arrives in Hollywood to play the screen lead in Harold Teen, and is immediately cornered by the still photographer. Donald Woods, one of the screen's newest stars, comes over to say hello. Frank McHugh steps up, too. They've all got their signals mixed, and Buddy, the big bulb and flashlight man, is gradually going crazy, trying to get a good shot of Hal. Patricia Ellis, who plays opposite Leroy in Harold Teen, greets him in the good old Hollywood manner and drags him off to rehearse the songs in the picture with those two popular songwriters, Irving Cale and Sammy Fain. And here we are in the Song Factory. Cale and Fain have written some of the greatest of all popular song hits. Just to mention a few, there's Let a Smile Be Your Umbrella, Wedding Bells Are Breaking Up That Old Gang of Mine, You Brought a New Kind of Love to Me,
These people are all dead, by the way.
And dozens and dozens of others, including those recent sensations Lonely Lane and By a Waterfall. The song Sammy Fain is now playing is How Do I Know It's Sunday, one of the 4 numbers in Harold Teen. Let's listen to it.
I'm not aware of the time, don't care if I'm hungry, sleepy, or ill. I stumble when I walk, I stutter when I talk, I'm a daffy daffodil. How do I know it's Sunday? I slept till almost after 10, didn't go to church again. How do I know I love you? I wouldn't be late on Sunday or miss the bus on Monday if I didn't care a lot for you. I think that's got it, Sammy.
Sounds swell to me. Hello, Pat.
How are you, Al?
Hello, Ernie. Hello, Sammy.
Well, how are we doing?
You're just in time for the words.
And the music.
Okay, let's try my song. Once a week we see the movies from the very cheapest seat. But like 2 little flies on a lump of sugar, we find it all so sweet. When we share a maple sundae, we consider it a treat. But like 2 little flies on a lump of sugar, we find it all so sweet. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll open up my eyes to find our dreams have all come true.
But till tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be employed making love to lovely little you.
Oh, goodness.
Life is ever and honey.
That's what you're going to be doing.
In the moonlight when we meet, and like two little
Who is this twerp? Who is this guy?
sugar, we find it all so sweet.
That was great, Pat. Great.
Thank you. Now let's see you on you step. You know, the Hallelujah High.
Oh, no. Come on, Al. I don't want to.
Oh,
Oh, no, I don't want to. You know why I don't want to?
Why?
Because I don't want to.
Oh, go on.
All right, I will. Sammy, that there Simple and Sweet number, you know? Play it once.
I listen to a lonely bird. I memorized the tune I heard. To every note I wrote a word. Simple and sweet.
Guy's built weird, isn't he? Just kind of a funny shape. I mean, I'm a funny shape, so I have no room to talk, but there's something about this guy. Yeah, very Sheldon Cooper-y. That's funny you'd say that, Trickster. That's totally right. The end. Excellent. Getting ready for Santa. Oh, it's never too early.
For Santa, Hollywood style, with the famous Yuletide parade in the gala and glittering spirit of the screen capital. A miles-long procession with bands and floats galore, and such unusual features as the roller skating mule.
Whoa, I don't like that at all. Doesn't seem cool to that animal.
Holiday celebration of the Old West, all in fun, of course. A wild and woolly Yule, but overall, the spectacle and sparkle, the spirit of the season prevails.
That was quick. I wanted more about what's going on in Christmas time there.
That music on the air. Listen to your favorite pair. Sing a song or dance for you in this televised review. Each a movie king or queen enthroned upon the silver screen. Now watch their escapade in Hollywood on parade, for Hollywood is on parade.
Well, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, the music you've heard played is Hollywood on Parade, our theme song. Toothpaste and motor cars and things we eat and wear are sung around on the air in theme song. Most movies that you see play up some melody. Where would I, Cliff Edwards, be without my theme song? And now we're going to treat you to the theme song of our feature. It's a number any jungle film might use. It's a hauntin', tauntin' songo of the far mysterious Congo, and it's sung by its composer, Clarence Muse.
Ugh. Ugh.
Night and day, I find no peace.
This is proof that, what's his name from Ghostbusters, is a time traveler. That's who that looks like.
Strange wild beat, so deep.
Can't think of his name all of a sudden. Lava Tubes. I can't think of his name. Lava Tubes. Damn it.
It's a sad river with a wild soul and a long river.
I can't think of his freaking name. Look it up. I'm waiting for a Disney representative to answer me on a chatbot while we watch this. Ernie Hudson. Jeez Louise. Got a real Ernie Hudson vibe. Who, by the way, is like 70-something. Have you seen him? He looks so good. He is... I'm sorry, he's 78. And here he is in 2023.
Who did you say goes Congo? I go Congo, Mr. Warren. Let me congratulate you. You sing it beautifully. Really? You like it very much, yes. You think you like it as well?
How is this dude pushing 80, honestly? Can we all do that? Can I have that?
I do, yes. Well, that's good. You know, I think I went Congo when I was trying to...
Unbelievable.
We simply must have our theme song, and when the newsreel is shown,
There's another one.
don't give it the right.
It's insane. Insane to me. What's he drinking? What's he eating? What's he doing? I mean, working out. Look at his guns, dude.
Listen in on what they say. Through the screen I bring them all at your command. Everything your
That's
favorites
ridiculous.
do, I'll report at once to you. I'm the eyes and the ears and the voice of movie land.
Yeah, all the other Ghostbusters, like, shrinking to little shriveled up pieces of garbage, and he is looking amazing.
Look at that drive, all of 200 yards.
Is that a lot? I guess that's a lot.
A platinum-haired
I don't golf.
scream siren swings a mean golf club, and a mean hip, if you get what I mean. And now she's going to putt. What's the ball? I said, what's the ball? You must agree that Miss Harlow shows good form.
Buenos días, amigos. Greetings from sunny Mexico, the land of hot foods and cold drinks, where the favorite sports are horse racing and bullfighting. The horse racing is for the Americanos. We Mexicanos prefer the good old sport of throwing the bull. Here is Alice White and Cy Bauer waiting for the first race. What, no beer? No, it is only ice water. They're watching something on the track. No, it isn't a big electric toaster. It is an American invention to control the way the horses start. What we really need is something to control the way they finish. There are the charming Bennett sisters, Constance and John, who are among our visitors today. That's Constance doing a good turn for someone. Carol Lombard has a tip on the winner, so she's telling her husband, William Power, in a hoarse whisper. But Bill likes to pick them himself.
Horse whisperer.
He's looking them over carefully. Take your time, Bill. There is prosperity. Everybody's betting on her. Bridget Finn is second choice. Locomotive and Warners are sure to show. Senores Wheeler and Wilsey pick them the same way. They are good judges of horse place. They used to eat in French boarding houses. Here is Claudia Dell, away up in this grandstand. She wants to be sure that no fat men will jump up in front, just when the race gets excited. Look who's with the judges. Our own Mexican star, Raquel Torres. Now, Raquel, how do you expect the judges to keep their minds on the track? Now watch closely. 1, 2, 3, they're off. Everybody's excited. Harry Langdon has $5 on Warner. Polly Moran just played a last-minute hunch on Prosperity, the horse that was named after one of her pictures. Here they come, into the home stretch. Locomotive has the rail. Warner is out in the front. Boston is right behind her. But where is Prosperity? Too bad, Polly. Prosperity is still around the corner. Adios, amigos.
Now you've heard the different theme songs that they use. For the prologue, feature picture, short and news. But the kind of a theme song now that wins acclaim is a ditty built around a movie that name.
Well, this is something to do with the thing.
Lynn and Sally, Mary Ann and Jane and Betty
Doody doody doo.
But the cream songs of the dream songs are the star-inspired theme songs that they sing to lovely ladies of the screen. Clunk, clink.
Well, that was great.
Well, Coney notches. See? Yeah, I see. Go ahead.
Lupe, eres todo mi amor. Lupe, tuyo es mi corazón. Eres dulce dueño de amor. Astro que disipa dolor. Lupe, cuánto te quiero yo. Lupe, por ti me muero yo. Lupe, Lupe divina, quieres mucho, cual te amo yo a ti. Lupe, I'm more than you play. Lupe, if I die you to blame. You may follow the things I say. You take all my hopes away. Lupe, love's a game for a fair. You play in a way that's unfair. Chiquita, sweet señorita, please make life sweeter and say that you
What is he doing? That isn't right. Oh, I hate it. Ugh, gosh dang it, dude.
You know, enchilada or La Jolla CC chili con carne.
So racist then.
In English? Yeah. Well, let's play Hollywood on Parade, you know, the theme song. All right? See? All right.
News thrills of 1942.
Oh no, we're back in the war again. Shit.
Here is the hero of the Philippines, General Douglas MacArthur.
I guess we'll find out what's going to happen now.
Plane caused havoc among the Japs.
Oh, we're back to the JAP. Oh boy. All right, so that was 24.
Lieutenant Jack Dale, U.S. Army Air Corps, receives the Distinguished Service Cross for airplane actions against enemy landing forces.
26
General
bucks a
MacArthur,
month.
now in command of the United Nations in the Pacific, has pledged to retake the Philippines from Japan. General MacArthur in Australia. The news that rang round the world. Huge crowds gather at Melbourne Station, waiting hours to see the hero of the Philippines. Australia welcomes him as the man of the hour. And here he is with Mrs. MacArthur. In these first pictures to reach America, we see the tremendous reception accorded the soldier who has command of all Allied land, sea, and air forces in the Southwest Pacific.
Okay.
Burma, scene of devastating defeat for the United Nations, receives a visit of outstanding importance. China's Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek and Madam Chiang visit Mamayo between Mandalay and Lashio.
But these pictures were made before Japan's lightning thrusts had conquered all but a scrap of Burma. The Generalissimo is here for a last-minute meeting with United Nations officers. His Chinese staff presents General Alexander, commanding British forces, and here is General Joseph Stilwell.
Joseph Stilwell. Remember him? I don't either. I'm sure he's very cool. Flying Tigers. I hope these are actual tigers and not airplanes. Ah, shit. Never mind that.
The field of the American Volunteer Group, the famous Flying Tiger Squadron of China's Air Force. The Tigers have made history in World War II. They have accounted for considerably more than 400 enemy planes since Christmas. Brigadier General...
Real quick, I got a question for you guys. Sorry. What name do I give this skull? I need to name it. All right. And it's because a little 5-year-old boy said, "Pops, I want you to name that skull. So when I know we'll come down here, I know what to call him." That makes him less scary to him. Because this is kind of scary for a little kid. So I need to know what you would name this skull. And I'll take some of your best suggestions, and then we'll do it. Okay. So just start putting them in there.
Claire Chenault, commanding the AVG, knows Japanese tactics.
Greg, I like it.
His theories of aerial
Yorick,
combat have
it's
proved
interesting.
sound in practice, and his squadron's victories have made the Flying Tigers the terror of the eastern skies. When they aren't shooting down Japs, the Tigers keep in trim with popular American sports. They have become familiar sights in nearby Kunming. Each man gets a bonus of $500 per Jap plane destroyed, so they're good spenders. American aid to China, although slight in most respects, has shown what it may be when more U.S. pilots like these fly a pattern of victory over the far eastern front.
Clarence. Bonesy. Ooh, Bonesy's good. Because it's a,
In the Mediterranean, a British convoy plants...
I mean, that's just obvious.
Every gun is manned, ready for action against
I think we're doing it. You know what? Dead Bert. Burlapple, you get a little bit of a bonus point for that, but I think I like Bonesy. These other names are great, but this is Bonesy. Perfect, thank you. That's it. Well, next time he comes down here, he's going to ask, and I'm going to tell him. Thank you for the awesome suggestion.
Gets too near for his help. These extraordinary films show a close-up of death in battle. In England, a squadron of giant Sterling bombers gets ready. The huge planes are gassing up for Britain's first raid on French factories in Paris. This squadron is part of a 200-plane attacking force, and the loads include both demolition and incendiary bombs. Target for the great aerial armada is the Renault factory, which has been building tanks and trucks for Germany. Bomber crews assemble to receive final instructions from their wing commander. Every last detail is checked. Each crew knows what to do. Each member takes his place in the fuselage of the immense aircraft. And now, in the dusk, they're off for France. These pictures, taken next day by a British observation plane, show the tremendous damage. Several hundred workers were killed, but it will be a long time before these plants resume supplying Germany with vital war equipment.
Vital war equipment!
Uh-oh. Did the British occupy Madagascar at some point? I mean, I guess they occupied everybody at one point.
As it steams toward French Madagascar, dusk finds French fortifications at the Diego Suarez base within range.
Well, shit. Wendy.
Under the fleet's protection, landing forces head shoreward, commanded by General Sturgis of the Royal Marines. His own men are mixed with tough veterans of commando units.
The naval base is Madagascar's only important port. With its 26,000-ton dry dock and splendid facilities for all types of naval craft, Japan could have made it a dangerous menace. After 48 hours, French resistance is broken, most of the French planes out of action. The garrison put up a stiff fight, but were overwhelmed by the speed and power of the assault. British and French high officers assemble under the portrait of Marshal Pétain to arrange the surrender.
Marshal Pétain. Oui, oui, poo-poo.
The occupation of Madagascar by Britain is a bitter setback to Axis plans. It is one outstanding example of fast, determined action, winning an important strategic victory for the United Nations.
Yeah. Did good, everybody. Well done. We all get to wear stupid hats. Oh, an update on the Battle of Midway.
These are the first pictures of the Battle of Midway, filmed from high above the Japanese fleet. Enemy ships turn in tight circles. Evasive action against U.S. bomber and torpedo plane attack. Watch closely, and you can see our bombs exploding around the Jap warships.
I don't know why you have to say the name like that. It was kind of rude back then, and it's even worse now.
A U.S. patrol bomber sweeps by the camera plane. Down below, an enemy cruiser of the Mogami class is heavily damaged by our bombs. Fierce clouds of smoke pour from her blazing decks. While our planes are out, Japanese torpedo bombers swarm in to attack U.S. naval forces. Anti-aircraft fire from our guns meets the attack. A burning Japanese plane smokes on the ocean surface, but Jap bombs drop dangerously near. The bursts are farther away now, and wrecked Jap planes dot the scene of action. Now this task force can go about its business again. Japan's powerful thrust against Midway is stopped dead in its tracks, routed by U.S. air power.
Tokyo is dressed in her holiday best for the opening of the 18th Modern Olympics, the first to be held in the Far East. At the National Stadium, there's a capacity crowd of 75,000 present for the opening ceremonies that precede 20 different sports events among athletes from 94 nations. The United States contingent of 330 men and girls is warmly applauded, and the male members are singled out by their jaunty Western hats.
They're jaunty Western hats. Yeah, that's good stuff. I like that.
Rivals in Olympic competition. There are 5,541 entrants in this year's games, a near record. As the host nation, the Japanese enter last. The Japanese have spent $2 billion to welcome their guests, and not a taxpayer has complained out loud. Then the teams line up on the infield as Emperor Hirohito declares the game's
Emperor
official
Hirohito.
As the 124th Emperor of Japan welcomes everyone to the Olympiad, the ringed flag is raised. Then the spotlight shifts to Yoshinori Sakai, who circles the track carrying the torch that was lit at the Olympic site in Greece and drawn here by a relay of thousands of runners. He mounts 154 steps to the pedestal that holds the Olympic cauldron. Sakai was born 40 miles from Hiroshima on the day the U.S. dropped the atomic bomb. He might stand as a symbol of peace among nations through friendly competition, just as the roaring Olympic flame brightens international horizons every 4 years. 8,000 pigeons are released to blacken the sky in majestic flight. May all nations find greater understanding through sports.
May we indeed.
Idea cars embodying the latest in automotive styling are previewed in
look
New
at this.
York. This sleek two-passenger car represents American sports car styling. An
Yeah,
externally
sports
mounted
car
exhaust
styling.
system attests to the power of this low-slung dream buggy. It won't go into production this year or
Low-strung
ever. But
dream
this and
buggy.
its companion idea cars, some even more futuristic, will guide engineers of America's major companies who've spent millions on their development. Guide the engineers both by their performance and by popular response, and pave the way for equally remarkable advances in future production models. Engineers' dreams become reality. Give you drivers ideas, maybe? A hotel on wheels? That's what we said, a hotel. Just find a view, put up the sidewalls and the roof, and presto, you have a dining room with windows all around it.
Who would have thought? You could do this. Oh,
Just
amazing.
like a good old American Pullman, it has room to sleep a dozen when they're not busy admiring the scenery. A restful night far from the madding throng where reveille can be a pleasure. In fact, the whole arrangement's cozy. All the comforts of home and an alfresco breakfast that whets sluggish appetites. All in all, there's something to be said for the hotel that takes you with it instead of having to hunt one. Here's the latest look from Paris, filmed in Paris. Flattering new creations by Dior, Balmain, Lanvin, and other top Parisian couturiers.
He made those up.
This elegant dinner
Lanvin, Paul Fur.
Orlan satin.
Hold on.
Emphasizing the lithe, unbelted lines, elegant creations.
I gotta hear that.
Here's the latest look from Paris, filmed in Paris. Flattering new creations by Dior, Balmain, Lanvin, and other top Parisian couturiers. This elegant dinner to theater ensemble is of Orlan satin, emphasizing the lithe, unbelted line the designer calls the whip line.
It's
Jacques
funny,
Heim, the new
dude.
silhouette is a telescope. Fabric poofs are worked horizontally to give the effect
Fabric
of being
poofs.
threaded through
Yeah,
narrow
that's
panels.
right.
The black cocktail dress tapers from snug bodice to wide hem. Christian Dior's Y line shows to advantage in this adaptation of the midi, a dinner gown with buttons down the back. The
Yeah.
Y is completed at the shoulders with two accenting bows.
Yeah, that's right.
A French tapestry inspired this short evening gown using three-dimensional embroidery on a dress basically
I'm gonna hear
quite
some
simple
more.
for the designer, Pierre
Fanfare?
Hadamar. The dress, lovely. Miss Stein? The embroidery marks this as a Balmain creation, too. Its intricate shirring and sculptured bodice emphasizing the supple drape of the fabric, rich white satin of man-made fibers. Her companion wears a short evening gown of Chinese yellow. It's a rich fabric, full-bodied and supple to drape. The gilt and gold decor of Versailles inspired this stunning gown with embroidered golden jewels on billowing satin. The flowing white velvet stole provides a lovely accent for a lovely gown. Just another creation from Paris that you gals will be wearing before long.
Uh-huh.
You hope?
No, we won't be.
Another twosome, the one standing, models an example of Jacques Heim's telescope line. Two wide paniers cup the billowing skirt. Marc Bohin designed her elegant ball gown. From Paris to you, wherever you may be, here is a lowdown on high styles. A first look at a new look from France, soon to adorn Milady America. Vive la France!
Tell me who those designers were again. Ooh, Vietnam War. Hitting the 50s, baby.
Anti-war demonstrators protest U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War in mass marches, rallies, and demonstrations. Central Park is the starting point for the parade to the UN building. The estimated 125,000 Manhattan marchers include students, housewives, beatnik poets, doctors, businessmen, teachers, priests, and nuns. Makeup and costumes were bizarre. Before the parade, mass draft card burning was urged. Demonstrators claimed 200 cards were burned, but no accurate count could be determined. Reporters and onlookers were jostled away on purpose. Although mostly peaceful, shouted confrontations were frequent and fiery during the course of the march. The anti-war marchers were picketed by anti-war marchers who were hawkish toward the parading doves. Civil rights leader Martin Luther King leads the procession to the United Nations, where he urges UN pressure to force the U.S. to stop bombing North Vietnam.
Police arrested 5 persons as disorderly. 3 were grabbed when they rushed the parade float. No serious injuries, however, in New York's biggest anti-war march.
Well, thank the Lord.
A companion peace demonstration brings out 50,000 marchers in downtown San Francisco.
Just in case you're wondering if there were, if we ever freaked out about stuff in the past, like wars and things like that. We always did. There's always a thing going on,
They parade 2 miles along Market Street, pacifists and hippies together.
Hippies? Already?
Gigantic Kezar Stadium holds the mass rally, where anti-war songs and speeches figure a short scuffle between pro and con factions. No one was injured. Both demonstrations were sponsored by a loose coalition of left-wing, pacifist, and moderate anti-war groups. President Johnson, meanwhile, let it be known that the FBI is closely watching all anti-war activity.
Anti-war activity!
A peace demonstration ironically erupts into violence near the U.S. Embassy along the glamorous Via Veneto. Police, alerted to possible trouble, stopped the marchers just short of their goal, and then the march turned into a riot. Peace placards, cafe chairs, and fists flew in all directions.
Placards.
Next day, a sit-down protest, but Rome police and firemen, too, had a solution. The solution, H2O, applied freely and under high pressure by the Rome Fire Brigade. The strong water jets bowled over demonstrators one after another. They dried out in the pokey. It took police 1 hour to break up the mob.
They dried out in the
33
pokey!
rioters were arrested. Internal drama in the eternal city.
Amazing. Wow, that was quick. All right. It's fine. Whatever. I've read and agreed to these terms. I'm now buying a domain. I hate doing this, but I'm going to cancel a couple others.
The Germans completed the Kiel Canal, which gave its high seas fleet places of waiting against the day when the warlord would give the word.
That was amazing. That last one was awesome. I can't get enough of this crap. I don't know what my deal is, and about 1,000 of you are watching me do this. So obviously it's like somewhat attractive to somebody.
And great men of war swing into battle lines, their officers drinking a toast to their Tag.
Come on,
And the
what are you
Kaiser's
doing?
sons, the Crown Prince, Eichel Friedrich, and Joachim were soldiers too.
Why isn't this
War
working?
is ceaseless, indefatigable, as he makes the rounds of his armies.
Please try again. I've read the terms of service. What are you doing to me?
His cousin, Archduke Ferdinand, heir to the
Did
Austrian
that not
throne,
work?
shapes the other half of the Teutonic war machine.
Dot shop, it worked. Okay. Freaking jeez Louises. Alright, we can DNS this business. And we're gonna just change this.
The two Caesars, Ferdinand and the Kaiser, hunted together, talked of days when German arms were born over many victorious fields. This was their last meeting.
Current IP address. Required value. Copy. Okay. Overview.
These black caskets
DNS.
carried Ferdinand and his wife to Vienna.
This is a CH name. Add record.
They are the
CH
prelude
name. Host
to
name.
slaughter.
Target name. Wait a minute. Current IP address. Required value. CH name. Okay. expired values. The Kaiser decrees state of war!
And in Berlin, the Germans know the hour of glory is at hand.
Paste. Add record.
Tsar of Russia mobilizes, and with his uncle, the Grand Duke Nicholas, with a white moustache, reviews the army. 10 million men will be enough to crush the Germans. The Kaiser and the King of Württemberg make ready to sweep the field with their marvelous new gaze.
Marvelous new gaze. All right.
These men are to go to Moscow, Paris, London. The Crown Prince will command an army. Von Mackensen will fight the Romanians. They goose-step before their emperor and before the son of their emperor.
Come on, why is this taking so long?
Still smarting from an earlier beating in 1871, know that though war is held, sometimes Frenchmen must walk across its flaming coals.
Connect third-party domain to Shopify
French
manually.
President Poincaré and General Jacques Le
Connecting a third-party to subdomain. Find ownership, connect third-party domain.
While the Kaiser stands by the side of the road and is a friend of every man.
Domain. Next. Click automatic. Connect automatically. Oh. It's going to be manually.
England joins the battle royal. The king, his uncle, his son send the little army.
A record to the Shopify address.
Army, over the old road. The
I
road
hate
to
domain
Calais.
shit.
Somehow in Turkey, the Sultan dreams that he must join the Christians to fight other Christians. It becomes a sacred Mohammedan duty.
Save. Okay. Delete other A records on the domain.
In Belgium, with its golden books,
This one can go away. Delete. A names. Okay, point the A record to the
When shall I
Shopify
see the
address.
thin, sad slates that cover up my home?
Quadruple A. Add record.
Serbia watches the shells falling into Belgrade. The bombardment of Belgrade. Once again, an English army crosses the channel to stand in battle line. This time, pitching its tents among the French and facing...
I mean host name.
Australians come 10,000 miles to heed the call of English blood. A retired general named Paul von Hindenburg is made commander of the Germans who will oppose the Russians. The German emperor stands on the sand dunes of Belgium and looks upon his men. England is across the channel. And these men want to see London. And Frenchmen burrow in to stem the German tide. Some of these men will stay 4 years in this earth. Many will remain here forever. They are halting von Kluck's drive on Paris. General Gallieni's army leaves Paris for the front.
What's wrong with this?
For the first time, men go to battle in taxicabs.
That was it? Literally, end of recording. All right. Okay, well, that's the end of this. I gotta go. Gotta go help with dinner and stuff. It's fun hanging out with you guys, though. We should do this again. It's fun doing work while you guys are hanging out and just, I got shit going on in the background. I wish I could play stuff that was a little more, streamable without getting in trouble. But those don't exist. I'm afraid. All right. Have a great time, guys. Good having you around. We'll talk to you soon and do this again. Okay?